was golden, then it was stolen. But I knew the way would see the dawn. The darkness closed in, then it was broken. You always kept me holding on. Look at us now, look at you shine. We're not coming down, don't wanna close my eyes. Look at us now, look at us now. We're in the middle of it, magic all around us. I knew one day we'd touch the sun. Our dreams before us, nothing to hold us back. You showed me we are limitless. Look at us now, look at you shine. We're not coming down, don't wanna close my eyes. Look at us now, look at us now, don't wanna close my eyes. Look at us now, look at us now. Look at us now. Our dreams before us, nothing to hold us back. You showed me we are limitless. Our dreams before us, nothing can hold us back. You showed me we are limitless. Look at us now, look at you shine. We're not coming down, don't wanna close my eyes. Look at us now, look at us now, don't wanna close my eyes. Look at us look at us now.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm dreaming, or maybe caught up in a trance. Don't even recognize the feeling that I got when we were walking hand in hand. You looked at me, looking at you, and there was nothing we could do to stop the moment from sweeping us up. I think I want everything you got. You threw your line and I was caught. I'm never ever gonna give you up. Now you found me, darling, you found me. Darling, you found me. I could never break away. Now you found me. Darling, you found me. I could never break away. You're my secret. I'm gonna keep it. Forever I will stay. I want you to be, I want you to be, I want you to be my everyday.
Hello everybody. My name is C314EC40. But you can call me Echo. Welcome to Youth Night. I have been programmed to get the people going. So, let's start with something simple. Let me hear you scream. I thought that would be better. Let's try that again. Let me hear you really scream. That was awesome. Tonight is Youth Night. If this is your first time here, we are so glad to see you. Each of you has one of those foamy, glowing, lightsaber things. Please grab one and hold it up in the air, wave it around like you just don't care. Now, everyone put down your magic, glowing, light stick thing. Okay, great job. Now, can I ask you a few questions? When I say something that applies to you, wave your light around and go crazy. Got it? Fantastic. Wave your light if you are in middle school. Great. Now put your light down. Wave your light if you are in high school. Great. Put them down. Wave your light if you are wearing a mask. Well, I hope everyone waved their light for that one. Wave your light if 2020 has been a rough year. Yeah, I think we all agree on that. But, did you see all of the other lights? You're not alone. Thank you for being here tonight. We hope tonight encourages you. We hope that you feel at home here. We hope that you find family here. Welcome to Youth Night.
What's up, EP Youth? Yeah. My soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, worship His holy name. Hey. Yeah, hey. Yeah, how you feeling, BPU? We at Rich and chillin' with our groups. Praising God, nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth. So sign up for a crew. We just vibing out at BPU. Got the games, got the leaders, got the worship too. Yeah, praising God, nothing but the truth. Yeah, nothing but the truth. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. We got the keys, yeah, we got the keys for the night. We feeling free, yeah, yeah, we feeling free for the night. I gotta agree, ain't no other place like this. Trust in God, we can never lose our faith. Doing this, what's the odds? I can't hate, devil's out of place. We can face any challenge, knowing God is in the race. King of kings, Lord of lords, yeah, sharper than a sword. When it comes to the gospel, that's something we should adore, yeah. BP Youth, look at the leaders, look at the presidents, look at the worship, look at the message, teaching the kids about the best teacher. It keeps me going like coffee and cream, stay on the beat like a rapping machine. All of these lyrics are right as I'm clean, that's because God really working through me. Ah! Yeah, how you feeling, BP Youth? Hey, praising God, nothing but the truth. Make some noise, come on. Oh, there's no one other to back me up.
Oh, good. Sorry, Jazz. Sorry to leave you hanging, man. Sorry. Hey, dude, that was sick. Hey, give it up for Jazz real quick. Give it up for Jazz.
I wrote that. I had to write all that.
Dude, thank you for putting all the time into that, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, you're an incredible artist. Yeah, your little blood pressure's up here. Thank you, dude.
Jazz, I don't know if people know what just hit them. They're kind of staring at you, right? They just got hit by a semi-truck, man.
I'm not sure if they know what we're doing right now.
That was awesome. Hey, everyone, welcome to Youth Night. Welcome to Youth Night. Yeah. Also, welcome those who are watching online right now.
That's right, YouTube. Good to see you all.
There are people
camera.
chilling in their pajamas, eating nachos.
Oreos. I'd be eating Oreos.
Taking in Youth Night right now. Now, here's the thing about those of you who are online. The people in the house tonight get a ton of candy in a little bit, okay?
Copious amounts of sugar will be given to these kids tonight.
Woo! All right, hey, worship team, the band's going to come on out. We're going to keep going. Yep. What should we tell them for tonight? What should we clue them into?
Well, we're going to be having a pretty awesome conversation in a second here.
Yep.
Between you and Haley.
Yep.
And then we're going to be having lots of sugar, like you said,
a lot of sugar.
Which I'm really excited about.
We had coffee available. I don't know if that was a good idea or a bad idea. Does anyone drink coffee in here? There is coffee available.
I see more middle school hands than high school hands, which is good.
And hey, parents, if you're watching and you're like, that's a bad idea, don't worry, I'm a parent. I got you. At intermission, we're going to get rid of the coffee and replace it with soda and candy.
Yes, because
So,
that's far more appropriate.
I got you.
Yes, I know.
I got you. All right. All right, here's the deal. So tonight, we're going to have some real meaningful conversations, okay? It's been, to say, a heavy last couple of weeks. I don't feel like it matches what it's been. It's been more than just a heavy last couple of weeks. It's been a really heavy reality as our community has gone through some real serious things when it comes to tragedies, all right? Shocking tragedies. And in that, in those specific situations, there's even more to that. Some of you are going through all kinds of things, whether it's recently in the last couple of weeks, whether it's the last several months or years or more. And tonight, we're going to have some conversation that I hope can bring some healing to that. All right? But in that, we're also going to have some fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Because anytime that we're together, it's a gift to be together. Right? So Jazz got us started, but that was just the start. We want to introduce the worship team behind us. Jared, would you give us the honor of introducing the worship team?
Well, you already know Jazz because Jazz is very hard to miss. He's an incredible artist, incredible rapper. We have Andy on the guitar with the mad flow, the sick locks. Jamie with some arguably sicker locks. I mean, his hair is incredible.
And he's
Jamie
also got the dirty mustache a little bit, too.
Oh, yeah. A little bit. Maddie, of course, our very own BP Youth leader, Maddie. Timmy on the keys.
Nice
Everybody loves
pants,
Timmy. And Zach Matson, my hero. Let's go, Zach.
Legend. All right, with that, we will hand it off to the worship team. Jamie, take it away, man.
Jamie.
Awesome. Let's stand up on our feet. Come on. Even though this has been a hard year, there is something about dancing and celebrating the King of Kings, the creator of it all, to know that there is a hope that's bigger than what we're dealing with and that there is hope to walk through what we're dealing with. So let's shake it off. Would you move to side a little bit? Wiggle your arms around a little bit if you need to get some space. And let's party. I'm ready to celebrate. Are you? Come on. Let's clap our hands. Come on. Move to side a little bit. Come on.
My eyes and colors fly. There's no hiding from your grace. I can't deny your heart from mine, and it's unrelenting chase. I was on the edge of deception, caught up in my own hesitation, until your love took over me. So I it's supposed to be an oasis. Here awaits us all the freedom I'll ever need. Now I'm alive. When I let go, then I find life.
right, you guys got a little bit more energy in you, yeah? I know I do. Let's get the claps going. Let go, and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be. An oasis here awaits us, all the freedom I'll ever need. Now I'm alive. Oh la la, oh la la. I let go, then I find life. Oh la la, oh la la. I let go, then I find life.
All right. Am I supposed to be up here right now?
Yeah, so am I. I was
great.
late.
All right, you can take a seat. You can take a seat. Hey, give it up for the worship team.
Yeah, thank you. Does anyone want a marshmallow? I don't know. Oh,
Man,
that didn't go very far.
you could put that crew in a room by themselves, and they'll still bring the same level of energy.
Oh, 100%.
But they have way more fun when you're here.
Yeah, no, that was awesome.
Hey, a few things. First, the lightsaber things that you have. I think the
Some leaders are going
stormtroopers
to come
coming.
around and get those from
Yes.
you. So they're going to come with some trash bags. You just want to pass them to the middle. We're going to pick those up and take those off your hands so you don't beat each other with them.
Yeah,
all
they're
night.
they're not really stormtroopers. They're very loving, endearing
Very
leaders.
loving,
all right?
very caring, very
And-
awesome leaders.
And honestly, the best part of our ministry is our adult leaders. So
100%.
Here's the thing. We can't really plug this enough. Once a month, we have youth night.
Which is this.
But
Yep.
every week, we have a thing called crews.
Yeah.
How many of you are in a crew? Raise your hand if you're in a crew, all right?
Come to crew.
I know our high school
That's
guys,
good,
we
yeah.
were at Buffalo Wild Wings last week.
Dude,
There's
that's
like 10
fun.
of us, okay?
That's awesome.
All right, yeah, Spencer, you were in quarantine. You missed that, okay? So tonight, you have a chance when you head out during intermission or after service. There's going to be an intermission tonight. After service, you have a chance to sign up for a crew, whether it's middle school, high school guy, or a gal.
Correct. Yep.
All right, a couple other things tonight as we start to get right into the conversation piece, which is the centerpiece of tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna play a video in a second, which will be the conversation you just talked about.
Yep.
And we just asked that during that, you wouldn't be on your phones. You know, if we were having a conversation, you wouldn't be on your phone. You wouldn't want to be distracted during our conversation. So same thing here during this
Yeah.
conversation. We just ask that you not be on your phone and that you try to engage and listen attentively to what's being said.
Yeah, if you want to be on your phone during a movie in a movie theater, remember those?
Unless you're watching
I remember last time I
online,
went to the
then
movie
I
theater.
hope you're on your phone.
All right,
Yeah.
definitely don't be on your phone here. It's out of respect for people. Secondly, and we can just pull the music down just a little bit. Secondly, tonight in the conversation, we're going to be hitting some real topics. Like, I don't think anyone's going to walk out of here tonight and be like, "Oh, that was fake stuff,"
yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't even real. No. It's gonna get real. It's gonna get really real. Okay. In that, we have different things that could be different triggers for us, right? In these
Correct.
conversations.
Correct.
When you're talking about relationships, or you're talking about losing someone by someone, right, passing. You talk about a subject like suicide. You could talk about all these real things that we're going to talk about tonight in really helpful and meaningful ways. We all have different triggers. If at some point you find yourself emotionally overwhelmed, right? It's just overwhelming to you. I want you to know that you can step out and you can take a moment. Okay, that's okay. And also, we have leaders in the back. You see people wearing these shirts, relationships over everything, right?
Yep.
If they
Little bit
look like
taller
an
than
adult,
you. Yep.
and they're wearing this shirt, all right, it means that they're a leader here, and we would love just to take a moment and pray with you, all right?
Yeah.
And then as you step back in and kind of finish out the night.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fair
That's right.
game?
Fair
cool.
game.
So if at any point you need to just step out, that's okay. At the same time, know that tonight will be broken up, right?
Yeah. So we're going to watch a video,
Part
have a break
one.
in between. It's where we're going to give you all the candy, soda, drinks, anything you want in the world. at that break there, and then we'll resume for part 2. It's kind of like a conference. It's pretty sick.
All right.
We're kind of big deal.
That being said, I think the video will speak for itself. It'll see the extra large version of me.
Oh, yeah.
And a very, very dear friend, as of recent, Haley Erickson. Yeah. All right, let's take a look.
Check it out.
All right, hey, I'm Chad, student pastor at Bridgepoint. This is Haley Erickson.
Yes.
All right, so I get often asked by people outside the church, so you're a pastor, right? What kind of like pastor are you? And I'm a fraudulent one. That's total fake, okay? Kidding. You're a therapist.
Yes.
Is there like specifically like what kind of therapist? Because you know people really well. So is it Haley Erickson, a therapist friend?
Right. I am not a fake therapist. I'm a real one.
Yeah,
and
good for you.
I am a therapist who mostly treats relationships at large. So that can be couples, marital couples, it could be siblings, it can be friends, it can be coworkers. So relationship therapist would be a good way to simplify me. But I also, sort of treat all the gamut.
Yeah,
Anxiety,
you
depression.
know people. That's
I love people.
So we actually just this week met and worked together, right, for the first time, and who knows, maybe not the last.
Yeah.
And honestly, most gifted therapist I've ever seen.
Oh.
And so as we got done working with a group of students, it was like 9 o'clock at night or something like that, and I didn't let you leave the parking lot without begging you to help one more time and to have a conversation, because you're really good with people and helping people process hard things, and I really, really needed your help.
Sure.
So as you know, our community, and as we worked together the other night, going through hard things, to say the least, specifically right, the death of Rachel Herring, of Aida Smith, right? Two complete tragedies, different situations, both deeply tragic, right, situations. And so I have like just a smorgasbord of questions for you.
Sure. Let's do it.
And some of these came from the other night.
Yeah.
There are questions that I heard students, and you heard students ask you.
Right.
Ask me. All right. And so I thought it would be helpful for us to have a conversation together that more students could hear.
Yeah.
And be a part of.
Let me just specify. I only know people because I love people. So I don't put myself in this position by any stretch of pedestal as though I have the answers, right? Or the right answers or the only answers, because I don't think that even exists. Right answers versus wrong answers, right things to say versus wrong things to say. So I appreciate that, but know that I feel like there's a strength inside of every single one of us that sort of can feel the need for something and speak into it. You're right, I have a specific training, right, and experience working with people who are in the trenches, experiencing the hardest of the hardest. And so I hope that that is helpful as an experiential place to talk about some of these questions that were asked by students and honestly adults. I think it's relative to both.
I feel really comfortable with you and talking about hard things and even our short time together. I also feel very intimidated by you because you know a lot.
I'm so big and strong.
Right. You know a lot. You know a lot, and so as you've already shown the propensity, feel free to correct me on all the wrong things that I say. All right, to make sure that we're being
vice versa
helpful to people.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, totally.
All right, you ready?
Let's jump in.
Fire away. Again, these are questions that we heard from students, not just questions I kind of just made up on my own here. A lot of students going through grief, right? Whether specifically tied to the passing of two young people recently, or other examples in their life. What is grief? How would you define grief? Is grief sadness, or what is grief?
Good question. So what causes grief, I think, is a better place to start.
See, like I said, feel free to correct me.
Well,
that didn't take long. That was one question, by the way. It's for those who are counting at home.
You already suck. Let's move through it now. What causes grief is loss, right? Loss at large. And loss can be defined by death, somebody that we're losing to death. It can be the loss of something that we hoped for. that we were expectant of. I think of a lot of the college students actually that I'm working with right now, and they new incoming freshmen to college were expecting a college experience that COVID took from them, right?
Yep.
And so they're experiencing grief, loss of what they're expecting. So what is grief is what is the response to something that we're experiencing. And let's all encompass that loss. It can be divorce of your parents.
Yeah.
It can be the loss of an animal to death.
Yeah.
So many things. And then answering your question, what is grief? It's the emotional response to that loss. When you say, is it sadness, right? The first thing I want to say, like, if you hear nothing else, it's that there are no rules to grief. There's no way to grieve that is right versus wrong. So the emotional gamut that we might experience is sadness, anger, confusion, nothing, numbness. It could be distracted, like I can't focus. It can be fear, really paralyzing fear that whatever I experience is going to happen to me or somebody I love. It can be guilt. So many emotional responses is the way to we feel on the back end of loss.
When we were in working with that group of students the other night, awesome group of students the other night.
Yeah.
I could see the weight lifted off their shoulders, and even mine personally, when you said there are no rules to grief. I mean, if there's one thing that stuck with me, that was definitely one of them.
Sure.
That there's no right way, right?
And I think we're often shackled to that, right? Like, am I crying too much?
Yes.
I didn't even know this person, and I feel really impacted by
Yes.
it. Am I not crying enough? Is it okay? I think is it okay is the most common question I got that night. Is it okay that I blank, right? That I feel angry, sad, confused, depressed, anxious, fearful, whatever.
No feelings at all.
No feelings at all. Happy.
Yeah.
Relief.
God forbid happy. Yeah.
Right. Like, is it okay? And the answer is yes. Always yes. To whatever it is that you are feeling, it is okay. And the worst way to possibly grieve is to not. Right? Is to not grieve. Is to not feel. Whatever the feeling is, even if it's numbness and feeling like you have to shut it down or turn it off because your friends will think one way, your parents will think one way. It's not a big deal. The worst way you can grieve is to not grieve.
So there's no right way, and by that you mean like perfect way, right? Proper way to grieve. Any feeling, right, is, that's the right feeling to have. When you have that feeling, whatever it's because so many different situations right now for any person, and they're going to continue to face so many different situations where grief is a thing and a reality. What do they do with the emotion that they have, that anger or that sadness or that regret or that happiness? And I like the other night you shared you might feel good now, and then 2 weeks from now you feel terrible.
That could be hours.
Right, it's a roller coaster all over the place. So what do they do with the emotion that they do have?
Yeah. So again, if there's no right way to grieve, it's hard to discuss, like, how do you do it, right? But this is by and large how we do it. First, I like to call it name the pain.
Okay.
What is your pain? Name it. And let's call it out. I think emotionally, we tend to think that negative emotions are ones to fix. So like, let's say you're hungry and you're having a hunger pain. Your body tells you, fix that. Eat something, right? If you're feeling sad, your body wants to do the same thing. It wants to say, you're feeling sad. Do something about that. Fix it. Make it not be, right?
Yeah.
So feelings are not facts. Y'all, every time I say that, I think of the Finding Nemo thing where he says, fish are not friends. And I cannot say feelings are not facts without thinking of Finding Nemo. So sorry, I distracted myself. Feelings are not facts. Fish are not friends, or fish are friends, or whatever he says. Meaning that they are going to come in waves. So I'm answering this twofold, right? So name the pain.
Yeah.
Call out what is your emotion to yourself. I feel sad.
Yeah.
I feel angry.
Yep.
I feel nothing. I feel relieved. I feel whatever, right?
Yeah.
Second to that is, have you heard of, y'all heard of the stages of grief? Have you heard people talk about it?
But
So I don't think that's great language because it kind of insinuates that there's going to be these stages that you'll leave. Like you'll be angry, maybe, at a stage. Then you might be confused at a stage.
On.
Denial,
Yep.
acceptance, right?
Okay.
I like to say that it's more in waves, right? So like the waves of the pain or the waves of this are occurring of these emotions. So what we know about waves is that they crash, and you might feel that.
Right.
The crashing of intensity of anger, sadness, all the things. But what else do waves do? After they crash, then they do what? They recede back. So there's these moments of peace. There's these moments of relief. There's these moments of like catching your breath, right? Because that's the case of grief. And so name the pain and then realize that emotions are waves, not stages.
Okay.
They'll come and they'll leave and they'll come back.
So one of the questions we heard a lot the other night too was when I'm distracted in a healthy way, right? When I feel happy right now, especially in a really heavy moment for our community and the loss of Rachel and then Aida. But one of the students said, when I feel happy, when I'm distracted, I feel bad. I feel like I'm dishonoring the death of people I care about.
Right.
Right? And so in that example, you can name that I feel happy right now. I feel good.
Right.
And then to know that those waves, because the happiness is it's good. You feel it. It's gonna go, right? Because it's a wave.
That's right.
But it doesn't mean you're dishonoring the process or the person, right?
Correct. And in fact, I think it's the opposite. Think about anybody you've ever. If you're grieving the loss of somebody, that means something that was there that you loved. Can't really grieve intensely something that you weren't intimately connected to.
Okay.
Right? So like when my sister's dog died, I was not all that sad.
Yeah.
When my dog died, I cried for 3 days. Right? Because I was not intimately connected to something there. So I don't have that intense grief reaction, right? So the fact that you're feeling anything on the backside means that there was a love, intimate connection. So stay there with me. Okay?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
That's positive, right? So if you are feeling happy, then aren't you therefore honoring, as opposed to dishonoring, the thing in which you loved? In which case, you ask that person that you loved, what would they want for you in this relationship? Most of the time, we want the people we love to feel happy.
Yeah.
So by feeling happy, you are in fact honoring them, which is the opposite of what you felt. 1, 2. So is distraction dishonoring? Answer that.
Is distraction dishonoring? No.
No, because it's in fact, arguably,
it's healthy.
Healthy and honoring, right? To the person, because that's how we would celebrate their love for you, which you were connected to prior to the loss. But also, I think you have to keep in mind that distraction, it's going to work at periods of times and feel like it's not working at periods of times. So let's say, for example, some of these kids that I was speaking to that are grieving the loss of these girls, they'll say, for example, I'm in science class and I don't know what that teacher's saying. I'm like, first of all, that's normal. None of us do anyway.
I can relate. Yeah.
But secondly, then maybe I get to dance class later and I'm distracted and my body is doing what it needs to do. Why is that, right? Because the way we respond to grief can work, right? You can feel the release of it at periods of time and not at other periods of time. So it's honoring to be able to distract. It's healthy for you as a person because nobody can live in straight difficulty all the time, right? Yeah.
So you said some the other night of we all process grief differently. And again, there's no rules to it, right? There's no right way to do it. You gave the analogy that stuck with me of, okay, say you and I are siblings, our parent dies, and we're both grieving, but we're both grieving differently, maybe at different times, in different ways.
That's right.
Because your relationship, let's say, with mom is different than my relationship with mom. She's both of our moms, right?
That's
but different dynamic. And then you gave an analogy of pork that was very memorable. Do you remember that?
Yeah, this is the bad thing about being an extrovert. You're talking before you're processing. Like, so you speak literally before you think, and then it comes out and you're like, oh.
Can't relate.
Well, it stuck with you, so maybe it wasn't good. So what was I saying about pork? Okay, so, right.
I remember vividly.
Okay, so let's say we both eat bad pork. Okay? And it's inside of you. Your body is needing to reject the bad pork. Yes. It needs to get it out so that we don't die. It's protecting you by getting it out. just like in grief, we're protecting you by getting out the emotion, yeah? So it might come out for you in the form of diarrhea.
Yeah, I might have diarrhea. I might have the runs.
It might come out for me in the form of throwing up.
Yep.
It was bad pork.
We both had the same thing.
It had to come out for you through the south end, and it had to come out for me for the north end. That is true about grief, right?
If you had to choose, which one would you choose?
Oh, that's a really great question.
No, right? That's worth a few minutes.
Always south end.
Really?
I hate with a passion throwing up.
I think I agree.
It gives me like anxiety to throw up.
Yeah. There'd be ramifications, but I'll move on. Yeah, so the point being, though...
I'm glad we went there.
Point being is... All right, let's just be specific to the situation of Rachel and Aida, and you're processing, and you feel maybe bad because you're not as sad as someone else. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Remember, there are no rules to grief, and everyone grieves differently. It doesn't mean that you're dishonoring, right? For doing so differently. And I think that, again, is a huge weight off of a lot of people to know that they're not wrong mm-hmm. for not matching the emotion, whether it's happiness or sadness or anger of the person or people that they're around.
Correct.
Who are also grieving the same thing.
Correct, and differently.
Yes, differently.
Mm-hmm. South end versus north end, right?
Yes.
So watch this. Another one that I get a lot is, what if I feel numb?
Right.
That's got to make me some kind of monster, right? If I don't feel anything at all, then is there something wrong with me? No, there's nothing wrong with you. Numbness is the body's way to protect, right? It shoots us into a protection mode because it might feel like it's sensing that the situation is, if I'm in science class, maybe, I can't let out how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
The intensity of how I'm feeling, I can't let that out in response. Like, let's say I start boo-hoo crying. Maybe I can't do that in science class. So the body will say, oh, this is a good time to shut down for a minute. It's just going to lock it up and protect it. Right. But don't worry, it'll come. Yeah. If it needs to come out, it'll come out.
Right.
I mean, that's true about throwing up.
That's my brain went there, but I thought we already hit that subject pretty hard, so I was going to lay off.
Well, I mean, we were on the analogy.
No, but that's how it works. It will come out.
It will come out, but it also may stop if it feels like it's not the time or place, right?
Right.
So that numbing is actually the body's version of protection. And I want to use the word protection because protection is good. Okay. For you to protect the people you love, for you to protect yourself is healthy. So we don't want to deem any emotion as bad.
You've also, in this conversation of grief, helped me understand why high school breakups or you know, that era, middle school, college, are so dysfunctional sometimes, because you said grief is loss, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a loss of something that we loved and we're bonded with, and that describes someone who's head over heels with for example, their girlfriend.
Sure.
And then you said, what would that person? All right. So you got dumped, Chad. All right. And then what would that person want you to do? Like in your grief, they want you to be happy. Well, not all the time. People are mean in high school, and so that person may not want me to be happy.
Good.
And you helped me understand all of the complications and complexities and why I was so devastated as a young person getting dumped by my girlfriends.
Okay, you're being
and then
therapized.
This is why people come to you.
This is free therapy.
Yeah,
Good
help me
for
out.
you.
I have some things to work through.
You roped me into free
By the way,
therapy.
my wife's amazing. No regrets. Thankful that I got dumped.
It worked out well. Yes.
Yes.
But you know, this actually brings up a point that's unrelated, if it's okay, that actually is important. Some of the kids that I spoke to, and this is common, the loss of somebody now can actually trigger a loss that you've had well before. Mm-hmm. So using the example, I lost a parent at a young age. Mm-hmm. Maybe I was too young to really process the intensity of that. And as a result of that, now I'm experiencing the loss of my parent.
Right.
Now with Rachel, and I feel guilty that I'm not feeling sad. All my sadness is not directed on Rachel, and it's some directed on my mom. I just want to say that's super, 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 super normal, and it's super, honestly, in a way, healthy. The body is just going to get triggered by new things, and sometimes it needs to process a gamut of things to do that.
And those can be compounding sometimes.
That's right, and you're not taking away from any one loss.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think grief is something that's boundless, right? No matter what you're grieving, whether it's specifically tied to the tragedies, right, that our community's gone through and families specifically are going through right now. And maybe in your family that looks differently, right? Maybe it is divorce. Maybe you reference the loss of a pet. I mean, you have these things where you're like, well, this isn't even a big deal compared to the other things, but I'm still grieving.
Right.
It's still
Big
loss.
feelings.
It's still loss, right? So I think all of us can relate with that, no matter middle school, high school, adult. Okay, so specifically death, because people can relate with that as well. We all will have a point in our life where we lose somebody. And I think a lot of our middle school and high schoolers have had that, you know, and it's one thing when you know it's coming, which it still stings, by the way. Death always stings. That's what I've kind of learned by experience.
Totally.
Always stings. And another time where it's a shocking tragedy.
That's right.
Right? So why does death hurt so bad?
Back to the comment I made before, death hurts because of the intimate connection. So your brain has to literally recalibrate off of what was to what is. So if this person I was intimately connected with, for whatever the reason, she was my friend, she was my mom.
There's a deep value there.
That's right. The brain has literally had an actual connection there. And now that person's gone, and the brain's like, oh, it's going to take me some time to recalibrate that person is gone, and I have to be on this side of that. So it hurts because the brain does not understand, not quickly, how to get okay with somebody being gone. It's literally recalibrating to do that.
Which, that's a value statement, right?
It's beautiful. It says that if it hurts, what does that say about what was?
Right.
It says that it was good.
Yeah.
It says that I had an intimate connection with them, that I was a good friend to her, that she was a good friend to me. If it doesn't hurt, then it doesn't say much about what was.
Right.
Per se, right? So
you lose someone who added value to your life, and I don't mean that just in a selfish way, but I mean that in a really meaningful way, right? That's we as people are valuable, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
We're valuable,
Heck
and we have value to each other, right? And the more that we see that in each other, the better our world is going to be, right? And so when you lose that person, you lose a person of value.
So it will hurt, and this is the question I would ask you: what do you think it says about you, that you are hurting because they're gone? So imagine you're the person hurting, and I say to you, okay, you're hurting.
Yeah.
What does it say about you that you're hurting?
That I miss that person.
And what does that say about you?
What it says about me is that I figure maybe more than one thing, but what it says about me is I valued that person.
And what does that say about you?
Oh, yeah,
deeper. I know, love therapists.
No, it's,
if that's true, if it's true that you miss them, and if it's true that you value them, what kind of guy is that?
What kind of guy is that? That I miss them, that I value them.
Right.
That I need them, that relationships are valuable? I don't know.
Yeah, and that you're a good guy.
Oh, well, thank
Not
you.
just you, but you, right?
Thank you. You hear that, everybody?
The fact that you are hurting means that you are innately good. Because you're experiencing bad feeling, which is hurt, because you are somebody who loved and valued. And that innately, for the person who is grieving, is positive. We tend to put the focus on the person we've lost, and I miss them, which means that said a lot about who they were to me, which is valid and huge, and we should celebrate their life, focus more on their life than their death, right?
Right.
However, it also says something good about you, the person who's grieving, and that is that you are a lover.
Hey, that was so good, so heavy. Did you trip a little bit?
I just ran into the wall. Oh no, Jordan. Sorry.
Hey, guys, that was very great conversation. Lots of heavy stuff. And if you're thinking like, ooh, this is a lot, and maybe I should, take this intermission and head out, don't. Because we're going to be talking about some super, really awesome, important things in the next half after this break. For example, what does God say about death? Does God allow tragedies to happen? We're going to be talking about suicide even. And what do I do if my friend is thinking about committing suicide? What do I do if I'm thinking about suicide? And so I don't want you to miss this next part because this part could be incredibly impactful to not just you, but to someone you know as well. So don't miss this next part. But for the next 10 minutes, we're going to take a break. Everybody's going to fuel up, get some candy. All right, Jordan, what are they doing? Where are they heading? Tell me where to get the candy.
Right now, your leaders are going to head outside, and they're going to be helping you guys get candy.
Awesome.
Not outside, like outside,
okay.
like outside of the auditorium.
I really like Kit Kats. Do you have Kit Kats?
We do have Kit Kats.
Ooh,
I think we do have Kit Kats. We have a lot of different candies.
Awesome.
Like
well, you guys have 10 minutes to grab as much candy as you want.
Candy.
Grab some drinks. Maybe sign up for a crew. All right. Oh, the mass exodus. All right. Very cool.
I love that we're
See you back here in 10
candy.
minutes.
That's awesome. See you guys in 10 minutes.
It can pass you by. It can be a road worth traveling life. It can weigh you down. It can be a start, a new beginning. Shine a light, don't shy away. You've got more than it takes, you know. You know. It can feel on hold. It can feel like miles stretched before you alive. It can be your dance. It can be your song. A song worth singing. Shine a light, don't shy away. You've got more than it takes, you know. You know. More than you say, you know. us together. $10 at the time in my gas tank, but I live in the fast lane. At least that's what you think. If I were a diamond on my neckline, I must hold my head high, wash my name down the same. Da di da di da. Why you tryna frame me like the Mona Lisa? Da di da di da. If you try to shame me, nobody gonna believe ya. Hear you shout out, out, but you white noise, blending in the background, marching around, round, round. You parading my words, wrote my name in the dirt around town. Now you're trying to bring me down, waiting for my walls to blow like I'm Jericho. Life give you lemons, you want limelight, but you crave the wrong kind. You seem so green, I guess you're addicted to the drama. Did you get that from your mama? Making a scene. La di da di da. Why you tryna frame me like the Mona Lisa? La di da di da. Twist the truth like a ballerina. Hear you shout out, out, but you white noise, blending in the background, marching around, round, round. You parading my words, wrote my name in the dirt around town. Now you're trying to bring me down, waiting for my walls to blow like I'm Jericho. La di da di da. Why you tryna frame me like the Mona Lisa? La di da di da. Twist the truth like a ballerina. Oh, ah, la di da di da. Oh, ah, bet you get that from your mom. Oh, ah, you're so la 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 la, la 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 la. Hear you shout out, out, but you white noise, blending in the background, marching around, round, round. You parading my words, wrote my name in the dirt around town. Now you're trying to bring me down, waiting for my walls to blow like I'm Jericho. Like I'm Jericho, what I ain't know. Like I'm Jericho, what I ain't know. You won't.
A little buzz shakes the week right off of me. Feeling up on the feeling of the heat, and we don't run. Just let it come naturally. Yeah, we don't run. No, we don't run. No, yeah, we're gonna ride. We're gonna ride this wave until it breaks. We're gonna drive, gonna drive, gonna drive, gonna drive all day. We're gonna ride this wave until it breaks. All I know, yeah, all I know. Yeah, we're living it right. I let 'em try, but this'll all work out for me. And when it does, never again accept defeat. Yeah, we don't hide, no, just find the light in honesty. 'Cause I've never been good at telling.
Hey, that's Timer right there. Hey, I hope everybody's hopped up on sugar, coffee, soda.
Good. Oh yeah, we got a big oh yeah from over here.
Big oh yeah.
Big
Somebody
oh
came
yeah.
stocked. Someone's ready for part 2.
Oh my
Hey, look, we're
gosh.
gonna start the next video in a second. So if you're not in your seats, make your way to your seats. But it's gonna be a good one, Jordan. What do you think?
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. Talking about some really very real things. Again, your leaders are gonna be in the back wearing these shirts. If you feel like you want to step out, you want to talk to somebody, you want to pray with somebody, that's totally okay. That's totally encouraged. We're here for all of you. So if that is you, don't be afraid to stand up, go to the back, find a leader, any leader.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right,
but
so
I'm
let's do
excited.
this thing.
Let's do it.
Let's play the second part of the video.
Let's go. Roll it.
So do you ever have as you're meeting with someone, have you had someone ask the question, even this week, last week, of why would God let a tragedy happen? Why would God let a young person die? Do you ever get asked that? As a pastor, I get asked that. So I
Yeah.
know I get asked that. Do you get asked that as a therapist?
I do. My short answer is we either have to decide that God is all powerful and all loving, or neither.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is God is all powerful, so does he have the ability to stop something?
Yeah.
And that's the question we ask ourselves. Why didn't he stop it?
Right.
So if he's all powerful enough for us to question that he didn't stop it, then we have to also acknowledge that he was all powerful to create what already was, which is that relationship that we had.
Yeah.
He's also all loving. So if he's all loving, why would he allow this to occur?
Yeah.
Right? Well, if he's all loving, then that means he's also all loving enough, right? To be able to create an environment to facilitate a place for this to have existed at once. So the way I view God, which is different from everyone else, and I'm not acting pedestal. I don't have a degree in theology.
Yeah.
But the way that I view God is that he creates good. He does not create bad. I don't believe God is a God who wants death.
Yeah.
I think he is a creator of good. So anything that's good, we get to attribute it to him. But anything that is bad, including death, and death is bad, and it is sucky.
Right.
Anything that is bad is occurring, and he is going to make some version of good out of that. It's not his creation.
Yeah.
Death is not creation.
Right.
But it's here for the theological reasons that we don't have time to go into that I'm happy to have.
Yeah.
It's here, and so what's God going to do about it? Well, guess what? He's still all loving and he's still all powerful, so he'll make something.
Yeah. Yeah, God takes, I don't think, so I do have a couple degrees in theology, and my answer is I don't know either, right? But, why would God allow, because he isn't fully in control, why would he allow a young person to die? I don't know. I do not have an answer to give of why would God allow that to happen, but I can tell you from everything I know about God, he takes no delight in it happening. There is absolutely no delight.
Or his design.
And that's not what life was meant to be, right?
The reason that people want to know why. Humans at large like control. All of us like to be in control.
Amen to that.
The only way to get control is knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? So we want understanding so that we can be in control.
Yeah.
It's natural in death to ask a lot of questions.
Right.
So back to there's no rules in grief, ask the questions. But we don't necessarily want to ask them per se with the expectation that we will be able to answer them.
Right.
And acknowledge that one other thing. You are already doing life without a lot of questions that you have answered.
Yeah.
Like birth. Not to be graphic, but why did it have to be like that? That's a weird design.
Hey, as a dad, I saw it the
Very
first time,
painful,
and the second time,
right?
and the third
But
time,
we
and I got
still
more
do
questions.
it. We still do it. It doesn't make any kind of sense, and I want to know why, and I'm going to ask him when I get there.
Notice she didn't let me hover on that one. She didn't trust me.
It's way harder for us. Right?
On that one.
But do you see? So if you're going to ask the question of why did this have to happen, I think you should ask the question.
Yeah.
Never shy away from asking questions.
No.
But also acknowledge we may not know the answer, and you have the ability, you have the power in and of itself to travel through something that you don't have answers to.
Yeah, and it's okay to doubt. These things, Mike Tyson, if anyone knows who Mike Tyson, the great philosopher, Mike Tyson said, you Google Mike Tyson, okay? He said, everybody has a strategy until they get punched in the face. And when I was sitting at the funeral the other day, I was thinking that same things. As you see pictures and you relive memories and you right? And you ask yourself, like, what's important to me, right? What is life? That is healthy. You're asking questions like, okay, do I believe what I was told growing up? Are these my own? Is this my own faith? I think that's a healthy process. And I had a student ask me, what do I do with my doubts? And similar to what you said with emotion, I said with doubt, I said, doubt. Embrace it.
Do it.
I remember hearing for the first time a pastor say, I have way more concern about a person who doesn't doubt than a person who does. And that freed me up. Because God is big enough that he's not rattled by my doubts.
Sure. And if you don't have doubts, what does that say? That says you know it all.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't.
Well, and then you get punched in the face.
And then you get punched
Life
in the face.
happens,
right?
and you don't have an answer for it.
Right. Right.
And then you start to reevaluate.
And it actually brings up a point in grief, and I heard this a lot when I was navigating with these kids. As people around you are trying to make sense of what this happens, they will make concreted statements. She should not have done this. She should not have done that.
Right.
Like they have some kind of understanding. That's making them feel better to make that. But in grief, it's healthy to ask questions. It's not really healthy to make concreted statements and answers and explanations, because truly the only person who will ever know is God.
Right.
Not us.
And I think it's worth stating, I don't think we could say enough. Here's what we do know about God, is that we may not be able to explain him, but we are asked to trust him. And in a way of not just trusting that, hey, I got it under control, don't worry, guys.
You won't ever feel bad. Right.
Yeah, because that gets, and humans can do that too. Just trust me, leave me alone, stop asking questions. That's not God. That's not God. He can take our doubts, he can take our questions. He's a person of total safety. Again, book of Psalms is just filled with really, really hard and direct questions to God. And God, I think, allowed us to have it so we could see it's okay to ask me those tough questions.
Right.
But here's the other thing we know about God, is that he's with us in the questioning.
That's right.
He's with us in the pain. And one of the best examples that I saw in the Bible of that is Lazarus, where Lazarus dies, his good buddy, and Jesus knew all the theology. He knew more Bible stuff than I do or you do.
Sure.
And yet, he knew all those things. He knew God had a good, has he'll turn all things into good. He knew all of that. And what did the Bible say what's it say that Jesus did? He wept. Intense grief. Right? And so God, being fully human, is able to empathize, to relate, to connect with our grief, with our emotion, and walk with us in it.
Also, on the night before Jesus died, he went to the Garden of Gethsemane and got alone, which he was rarely alone, right? He was always with 12 bros, pretty much.
Yeah.
But he's alone, and in that period, he's not only crying, he's also questioning. Why me?
Yeah.
Why do we, are you sure?
If
This is the route.
If there's any other way.
Are you sure we
game.
should do this,
Yeah.
right? He
Right.
doubted God on the very last breath. So
Right.
doubt. God's like,
God,
I will hug you through that doubt. Right?
God the Father's own Son, right? Jesus.
Doubted and felt.
Showing us that.
Also,
that it's
like
safe.
if you believe in God, you believe that He created every single part of your body, right? Including tear ducts.
Huh.
What's the purpose of tear ducts?
Right.
To release and to protect your body from bacteria. So protection and release is grief.
That's a good word. All right. Well, I want to ask a couple questions, just and finally, in closing here, about a topic that's very prevalent, no matter the time. And as a youth pastor, I know this is always a conversation with teenagers, but with adults.
Yeah.
As a therapist, you could attest to that, right? But that is suicide.
Yeah.
So even as we deal with tragedy, as we grieve, sometimes suicide starts creeping up and becoming conversation because it's viewed as an option. Of course, we had a student take her life recently, right? Within the last couple weeks, within our very own community. What happens with suicide? Like if you know someone, as many of us do now, even specifically, who committed suicide, how do you process that as a person?
So that's a good question. The first thing is that let's talk a little bit more comfortably about suicide than we ever have. Suicide is scary to talk about.
To be honest, it made me nervous just asking it, trying to get the right words and asking that question.
I'm glad you're acknowledging that.
Hypersensitive.
It's hyper scary to talk about suicide, right? It's
Yeah.
worse than talking about money or politics, right? It's terrifying. And I think that one of the things we need to do is not normalize it, because it's not a good solution, right? However, let's calm down our emotional fear related to it, and let's talk about it a little bit more calmly, more breath, right? Second to that, let's acknowledge that. So take a breath.
Yeah, no, thank you.
This is me telling you.
I can only restate the question again and breathe a little bit more.
Right. Second is.
Until my oxygen was running out.
I can sense it. Yeah. Suicide is a tragedy.
Yeah.
It is not anything else other than a tragedy, like all death. Suicide is a tragedy, but it's also a mystery. And so when we're talking about longing for understanding, part of the reason suicide is so difficult to talk about is because it is something that we don't understand. And so it's hard to talk about things we don't understand, right? Yeah. So it's both a tragedy and a mystery. Also, there is a large component to suicide that is impulsivity. So especially in adolescence, if somebody is going to take their life, likely impulsivity is at play. And what do I mean by that? Action without a lot of thought, right? And the other night I was with those kids, right? And I gave them a science lesson. They were so excited about my science lesson. Briefly, the science lesson is, in adolescence, the first part of the brain that develops is the amygdala. It controls emotion, sex drive, impulsivity, all the things we see, right, in the adolescent side. This last part of the brain that finally develops is the prefrontal cortex, somewhere around 24 to 26 years of age. So you've got this big gap, right, of basically 10 years where the amygdala is present and the prefrontal cortex is not. Therefore,
so now the teenagers right now have a prefrontal cortex?
Not yet. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you're not as smart as us yet.
Do I do though?
Oh, you probably.
I
hope so.
We're not sure. Like,
are you over the age of 25? Yes,
like,
exactly.
It's there.
So
with have that confidence.
With suicide, impulsivity is a huge part of that in adolescence, right? So. It usually when a teenager commits suicide, they're experiencing heavy emotion that their bodies don't know how to regulate. They don't know where to put it. They don't know where to process it. Big feelings, right? Like a toddler tantrum in a big body, right? So if suicide is to occur,
I'm just laughing because that's exactly how I look when I got dumped in high school. Different times I looked like a big baby.
Big feelings.
16-year-old guy's body.
Right, exactly. Right? A big body
big feelings.
with a big feeling,
big
right?
Feelings.
And so then you have impulsivity, which could cause to end your life. And let's talk about right now. You have more access now than you ever had in your life to understand how to commit suicide. What that people are committing suicide. It's being talked about. And so there is a normalization component of it, sadly. And so your question was, and I'll come back to that, but your question is, what is it? Why? How do we make sense of it? And we just need to understand that it is a tragedy. Right. It's a mystery, and that impulsivity plays a huge role in it. Yeah. Right. Right. Also, I said this then, and I like to say it now. Committing suicide is not a good way to describe it. Instead, we want to use language like they died by suicide or they took their life. You used that language earlier. I want to tell you that that's fair and appropriate game language because committing suicide puts the emphasis on the death and how it died. Died by suicide put the emphasis on the person's life that occurred prior and that it was a sickness that usually led to that action. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And one of the things that a common question is, and talk about a sensitive one, is suicide like the ultimate sin? And this comes from, especially as now a church setting, right? Those watching, you're tuning into a student ministry, part of a church, right? So people ask that question. Yeah. What role? By someone committing suicide, does that mean that they're going to hell? I mean, just to quote exactly a question, right? Verbatim, we got from student, and it wasn't in a church setting, either, to be fair. Right. So you want to tackle that one?
I don't know the answer. Yeah. And I don't know that answer because I've not committed suicide, I've not been dead, and I've not come back to life. I don't know anybody who has committed suicide and been dead and come back to life and told me what happened. Yeah. I don't know what occurs. My best answer is that it if it is your belief that that occurs, then that can be a motivator for how you're going to live your life and what you're going to do in the face of tragedy. The other thing I can say is it is okay for suicide to feel differently. If you're a person who is coping with somebody you know who's committed suicide versus you're grieving the loss of somebody from a tragic death, it's okay for you to realize that those are different.
I know what it's like to grow up with that belief. I did. I mean, I was raised in that kind of understanding culturally that it was the ultimate sin, and maybe that was just because people didn't want anyone to commit it, and so they just said, "Don't do it. It's the worst. You'll never, you have the worst eternal punishment because of it." Okay. In my opinion, I don't see that anywhere in the Bible. I don't see that anywhere in the Bible. And to put it this way, if I'm going to receive eternal damnation for a fleeting bad decision, a momentary lack of discretion, I am so done in every area of my life. I mean, that's one example.
Sure.
But if eternal damnation is the consequence for a bad decision, momentary bad decision, right? Then I really don't feel like I have much hope. All right? For me, as a follower of Jesus, what gives me hope is his grace.
That's what I was going to say.
Grace is Jesus being good to us, God being good to us, even though we give him every reason not to be. And I don't think that stops
at death.
With suicide. I don't think that this is my personal conviction. If you have parents that feel differently, I might get their emails in my inbox or whatever, and that is fine. That is totally fine. I'm just sharing with you my heart as a believer and what I hold to, because again, everyone has a view of God until they get hit in the face, until someone commits suicide, until you have some suicidal thoughts.
That's right?
But I don't think a person's momentary decision, or bad one or good one, undercuts God's grace.
So if you have a friend, this was a question we got. It's a question I get. If you have a friend who's maybe made comments about them wanting to take their life, them wanting to self-harm their physical body, them wishing they weren't here, them wishing that, thinking that this is a common we hear in adolescence, everybody would be better without me. It doesn't seem like people would really miss me or that they really need me.
You're saying things that they've all heard and maybe hearing right now. So
or that you're thinking.
All irrelevant stuff.
Or that I've thought.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And so if you are the friend of that person and you're hearing that person speak like that, right? First and foremost, you are not responsible for anyone else's life.
Okay.
So when you hear that, it's not your job in that moment to fix it, to save them, right? We can love people, we cannot save people.
It's easier said than done. You feel very responsible when someone tells you, like, I don't want to mess up. What do I do with this information? They tell you, don't tell anyone. You're like, well, what do I do with that?
Right. Good point. So the first thing you want to do is remember, I can love you, whoever you are, but I cannot save you. There's only one person who can save, and that's God. So you're going to reconnect yourself with, how do I love them, not save them, feel responsible to save them, and remember that God will protect them in the ways that he ever sees deemed. Whatever is the end result there. So then we're going to communicate that. I love you. This friend that's coming. I love you and I value your life.
Right.
I'm not saying that so that you will stay on this earth. I'm saying that because that's true. Right? That's how I show you that I love you. And so I'm not responsible for you. I love you, and I'm going to show that by telling you I love you and I value your life. I value your life on this world, okay? Then third, you're going to, again, remember how we're saying let's not shy from the idea of this huge giant suicide, so try to keep yourself calm and then say, I really think this is a good thing to talk about with a professional. And you would maybe encourage your friend to talk to a professional. And definitely never contract that you won't tell anyone. Not about life. So never tell somebody that you won't tell somebody if they're telling you they want to die, and just say, and the reason I'm telling somebody is because I want to keep you safe because I value your life. And then you're going to tell an adult, and you're going to encourage them to tell an adult. Trusting, safe adult.
So your friend says that to you, one of those statements of pointing to suicide, pointing to disappearing, right? And then they say, don't tell anyone, right? Then your answer is of some version of, I can't.
I get it, but you don't want me to tell anyone.
Right. I won't tell everyone. I can promise you that. I won't tell everyone, but I will tell someone, and let's maybe think together who's the best person is to tell.
Yeah.
Someone who can help us.
Yeah. I'll go with you to tell.
Yeah.
Or you can come with me to tell. Or the only person that I feel comfortable talking about that I trust the most is, let's say, for example, my mom or Chad, my youth minister, or whoever. Is it okay if I tell Chad? No, it's not okay. It's not okay. Okay, well, you know. Right. So yeah, that answers that. All
right, now if they're having the thoughts themselves right now, because you could be like, yeah, my friend, and then it could be like, yeah, my friend. Right? And really, we have people right now struggling. Hey, I've had suicidal thoughts in my life.
That's right.
I've struggled. As a young person, there's a part, I even shared it on stage in front of our whole church a couple weeks ago, a moment I had as an adult.
Yes.
Where I thought maybe it'd be better for everyone else if I disappeared because I was in such a moment of hurt. Mm-hmm. So that's real.
So can we normalize
what do you do? Yeah.
Like, can we say that first and foremost, the vast majority of humans at some point in their existence in life has had the idea that it would either be better off if they weren't here.
Yeah.
They would prefer to not be here.
Yeah.
They want to run away.
Yeah.
To the hypothetical Costa Rica, right? Like, and never come back, or death.
Yeah.
That the only way that the current situation that I'm in right now can ever be solved is if I'm dead. There is no other solution in the world. Mm. Most of us would raise our hands to having some version of a thought like that. So you're normal.
Okay.
You're normal for having it, and don't be scared that you have it, because to have those thoughts does not also mean that you're going to die.
Yeah.
That you're going to attempt to kill yourself, right? Yeah. Having those thoughts is natural. So we don't want the thought itself to scare you into believing that it's something that should happen or will happen.
Right.
It may not.
Right.
Right? Because many of us have had those thoughts, right?
Yeah.
If you are having those thoughts, though, we don't want you to be alone in them.
Right.
Being alone in those thoughts is suffocating.
Yeah.
And it can get to the place where you're getting confused.
Sure.
Well, I could definitely do this, and maybe that is a good idea. And right, you start to sort of chase it, and it evolves into something more serious. Mm. So if you are having those thoughts, just like we recommended you talking to somebody else, is tell somebody.
Okay.
If you feel legitimately like the only person in the world that you can tell is another one of your peers, that's okay, start there.
Okay.
However, we definitely want you to talk to somebody who is a trusted adult. Mm. Pause. That may not be your mom. That may not be your dad.
Yeah.
That may not be the people who you expect that you're supposed to trust, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Trusted adult means that when you tell them, they will take it seriously and want to help you.
Okay. That's a good clarification.
Sometimes I've had kids tell their parents, and like, you're fine.
Right.
No, I am fine, but I need help.
Right.
The other thing is that there's a national suicide prevention hotline, and you can text it, which is even
that's
cooler.
Cool. That's helpful.
So we'll put that information up too. Yeah.
Okay. So we could throw that up on the screen, but I think when it comes to suicide, some of the principles there, you're not a freak to have the thoughts. I've had them. You said majority of human beings have had them. Mm-hmm. It's normal. Tell someone.
Can I add a fourth?
Yeah.
Ask yourself in the moment, why, not do I, but why do I want to be alive?
Okay.
Ask the contrary thought.
Yeah.
You have a good supporting evidence as to why you want to be dead. Right? You've already made that. That's what got you here.
Yeah.
Why do I want to be alive?
Huh.
It might be my cat. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I've had many people say, my cat.
Yeah.
And that's great. Remember we said earlier, we don't care the reason for why you want to be alive. God wants you alive.
Yeah.
So why do you want to be alive? If it's because you're afraid that it'll be a sin, that's a reason.
Sure.
So ask yourself in that moment, why do I want to be alive?
Yeah.
And find something.
Well, listen, anyone who's watching this, I want you to be alive with my whole heart.
Agreed.
And that's why we're doing this. Mm. I could have stood in front of the camera today and given a lesson out of the Bible and helped you maybe spiritually. Mm. But I know that this stuff is really practical, and I know I've needed practical help. By the way, one of the things that changed my life was actually having a therapist in college.
Same.
Because the Bible verses were helpful. They kept me holding on, but I did need some practical help to like really move forward from it. So I hope that's what it does for you. But your life matters.
Yes.
You matter. Every single moment of your life, my life matters. Because we're not promised the next one. So we got to make the most of the one that we're in. So I hope this gives you practical helps. Yeah. And you are of incredible value. And if you do have any of those thoughts that are becoming more and more of a reality in your mind, then take up the information there on the screen, and to reach out and to know always here at BP Youth, you have leaders that you can be real with.
That's right.
We're not going to judge you. We're not going to tell you that's silly or not worry about it. There's nothing more important to us than what's going on in your life right now. All right? So love you, and I hope this was helpful tonight. It's the smaller version of me. Hey, listen, we had one goal tonight. One goal, and it's just to help you. And to help you, people watching online, people beyond tonight that I think are going to watch this conversation. One goal was just to love you well and to help you. Maybe you're hurting tonight. Out in the atrium there, I saw some tears. Those masks don't hide everything, right? And I hope this is helpful to you in real practical, tangible kind of ways. Maybe you're not hurting tonight. I hope you've heard that that's okay too, right? But you will be in the future, and I hope that some of the things that you heard tonight will be helpful to you. Maybe in your hurt, for those of you who have been shaken up pretty significantly in the last couple weeks, maybe you have been just holding it in. Maybe you have been keeping it to yourself or just to you and your friends. And tonight you need to talk to an adult. You just need to voice it with someone else. I want you to know that we are not going to try to offer you answers. We are not going to try to solve your problems. We just want to journey with you. We just want to be there for you. We just want to pray for you. That's it. So a song's going to play here in just a minute or two. And during the song, if you're hurting and you feel God's nudge there, or just some kind of nudge, you're not sure who it's from, and you need to talk to someone, you need to talk to an adult, just to kind of let it out, I'm asking that during the song you'd step to the back, and we have leaders there ready to go pray with you. All right? Doesn't need to be long. You don't even need to say much. You could just go back and say, I'd just like for someone to pray for me. That's okay. Maybe in your hurting, it's led to searching. Maybe you're watching right now, or you're in here tonight, and you don't know much about God. You don't know much about religion. You don't know much about Jesus. You don't know much about the church. And I want to tell you right now, if I have a favorite person, it's you. I love that you're here. There's nowhere else I want you to be. And maybe in your hurting, it has led to searching. Meaning you're asking questions that maybe you haven't asked for a while or ever. What is life? What happens when it's my funeral? What happens when my life runs out, when my time runs out? Like, what am I living for? What am I doing? What really matters to me? And maybe in your searching, you're starting to come to a conclusion that your something is a someone, and you're asking questions about Jesus that maybe you've never asked before. Hey, I just want to share with you personally. There's no pressure on you. Everyone's got to make their own decisions about them and God. But let me just share something with you. Jesus is the most relevant person in my life. Jesus is the most relevant person in my life. Jesus came and left heaven, came to earth, so that he could rescue me from my pain. Now, that doesn't mean that all of our pain goes away. It means that he's given us life in the pain, and he rescued us from the greatest pain of all. You know what that is? It may not be what you think it is. The greatest pain of all is to live life in eternity without our Creator. Jesus came to solve that problem so that he could walk with us in our pain, and that even in our pain, there could be purpose to our pain. And even when we experience death, we can actually have life. He flips it all up on its head. Everything that we know. Jesus is the most relevant person in my life. And if your hurting has led to searching, and you are ready to either step forward and you want to follow Jesus, you want to give him a chance with your life, during this song, step to the back. And we would love to just pray with you. Maybe you're not sure if you're ready to follow Jesus. You're not really sure what that even means. And you just want to ask questions. Online, you're like, well, what do I do? I can't step to the back. I'm in my living room, okay? This is what you can do. You could DM us, all right, BP Youth. You could DM us and just say, I want to talk, or I want to follow Jesus. We just want to journey with you. So, all that being said, if we need to have a conversation tonight, or you just need some encouragement and prayer tonight, during this next song, go ahead and step to the back, and you'll have a leader there ready to welcome you, all right, and just support you.
God loves you so much. That's why we love you so much. As Maddie leads us in this song, let's make room for that kind of love, that hope in our heart, because God loves us too much to leave us in pain. Come on.
Here is where I lay it down, every burden, every crown. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. Here is where I lay it down, every lie and every doubt. This is my surrender. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. Sing this out with me. Here is where I lay it down, every burden, every crown. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. Here is where I lay it down, every lie and every doubt. This is my surrender. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. Your way's better, Jesus. Your way's better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. Sing that with me. And I will make room for you, to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. Here is where I lay it down. You are all I'm chasing now. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. Here is where I lay it down. You are all I'm chasing now. This is my surrender. This is my surrender.
You see it on shirts. You hear it from us all the time. That our greatest value is relationships over everything. So you know what? You know the coolest thing that can happen here is that we get to know you. If you're not in a crew, the greatest thing that can happen is that you join one and we get to know you. We get to do life with you. So as you head out tonight, please think about signing up for a crew. Just check it out. We meet Sunday nights. Middle school meets here. High school meets off campus. And it's just about relationships. It's not about us leaders having the right answers. It's not about us as people who go to church living perfect lives. It's about us actually having a lot of hurt, having a lot of imperfection, but then finding a lot of hope in Jesus. And walking together of what that looks like and what that means. So tonight, as we head out, first of all, more than anything, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. You're watching online. Thank you for being a part of tonight. Because the greatest thing that we could do is to be with you. And so you want to talk, you want to hang, you got any questions, you have any thoughts about the conversation that you heard? Again, we just want to be with you. So get out of here, grab some leftover candy. If you want to buy a shirt, sign up for a crew. But let us know what you thought about tonight. And we would love to see you in crew next Sunday, all right? Let me pray over you, and then let's get out of here. God, thank you that you care about our lives. Thank you that you care so much, God, that you left heaven, you left perfection to come into our mess so that we could experience life in you. Jesus, I pray for the families of Rachel, for the families of Aida, for the family, the friends, the people involved, Lord, in this recent scope of horrific and tragic situations and realities. God, I pray that the people most directly involved would feel your comfort, that they would feel your presence in the pain and the incredible pain that they're experiencing. God, only you could bring healing. Only you could bring eternal purpose. And I pray that they would find you and feel you in this miserable season that they're in. God, I pray for the students in this room for the hurt that they have, whether it's a hurt from a parent's divorce, whether it's a hurt from someone that they lost earlier this year, whether it's a hurt from a relationship ending or being betrayed by a friend. Lord, I pray that they would know how much you care about their hurt and that you want to meet them in the hurt so that in the pain they could still experience life and joy that comes from you. Thank you, Jesus, for loving us so much that you would meet us where we're at. I pray that we would experience you where we're at. It's in your name that we pray. Amen. Love you all, and I'd love to see you next Sunday. Thanks for coming tonight. Thanks to those watching online.
Do you remember when we were young? Life was so simple and we just had fun. Do you remember when we were small? And everything around us was so much taller. Do you remember when we were kids?